Chapter 16. No compromise. No compromise to be made in matters of faith. We were gathered in the Areopagus and saw the learned philosophers of Greece, the men representing the thought and progress of their age, in the world's center of intellectual and artistic culture, following with curiosity the new doctrines expounded to them by St. Paul. His countenance was illumined as he spoke, and the fire of zeal burned in his eyes. His eloquence bore them along with irresistible logic. Here, truly, was a man different from themselves, a man careless of mere phrase and rhetoric, or the vanities of philosophic subtleties, whose thoughts struck home with every word, leveling ancient falsehoods and establishing a divine doctrine that was comforting to men of goodwill, as it was terrible to souls obdurate in sin. Kindness and considerateness itself, he knew how to gather out of the complexity of errors that formed the religious beliefs of a pagan world, the few suggestions that might help to lead them to the truth. With these facts as the starting points of his argument and teaching, he began to unfold the doctrine of the one true God. St. Paul had made himself all things to all men, that he might win them all for Christ. He had begun with preaching the unknown God, whom the Athenians worshipped without knowing him, and had quoted from Aratus, their poet. Yet there was one thing St. Paul could not do, one thing that exceeded his authority, and this was to compromise with error. Though it might have seemed kind, it would in reality have been most cruel. Though it might have won him personal friends, it would have made him a traitor to God. There could therefore be no compromise, no matter how slight or insignificant it might seem. The utmost charity and zeal for our neighbor's salvation, the gentlest consideration for him, together with the establishment of the best mutual understanding, and finally the absolute exclusion of all compromise, even in what may apparently be the least and most negligible of the doctrines of the Catholic Church. These are the three lessons of the Catholic apostolate taught us by St. Paul, of that apostolate to which we all are called, each according to his degree and possibilities. We must always remember, and deeply impress it upon our heart, that there is nothing small or negligible in our faith. Either it is all divine, or nothing is divine. All that Christ teaches us through the Church, which he has founded upon Peter, we must believe. To teach all nations, to observe all things, whatsoever I have commanded you, was the instruction given by Christ to his apostles and their successors, in that Church with which he promised to remain even to the consummation of the world. Never, therefore, can she teach even the least doctrine that is not of Christ. Never can she compromise with error. Gently but bravely, St. Paul refuted all the ancient myths of his pagan audience. God, he told them, is not to be imagined dwelling in temples made with hands, after the conception of those who believed their divinities, to be enclosed within the statues of stone, and of silver, and of gold. There was no different origin for different nations, and they were wrong in holding that any human being might be treated with contempt, since in all there was the same human dignity, and for all the same common bond of brotherhood. God indeed is merciful, and, having winked at the times of this ignorance, now declareth unto men that all should everywhere do penance, for they could not hope to escape the day of judgment. Compromise, therefore, is a word that must never be spoken by Catholics where there is question of the teachings of the Church of Christ. Yet this does not exclude a certain spiritual prudence such as the Apostle displayed, by gradually preparing his hearers, step by step, for the truth which he wished to unfold before them. Only by this process did he finally come to the point which he knew would at once be bitterly debated, the resurrection of the dead. Here indeed he was interrupted in his argument. Some openly laughed at him. Others more civilly told him that they would listen to him some other time. There was no more to be accomplished for the present. Yet his work had not been in vain. But certain men adhering to him did believe, among whom was also Dionysius, the Areopagite, and a woman named Damaris, and others with them. Compromise with those not of the faith is at all times the deadliest of errors. Here precisely is the danger of religious indifferentism. Here is the danger of socialism. Here is the danger of mixed marriages. Here is the danger of seeking to keep at all costs the golden opinion of the world and fearing its contempt. Here is the danger of education in non-Catholic schools, no matter how innocent they may seem to be. Modernism is the baneful blossom of religious compromise, and atheism is its fruit. We cannot save the souls of others in any such way, but we can readily lose our own.